This video is a follow on from our discussion about the grid and how to set up a grid. So I'm setting up a document. I'm just going to make mine 4 pages. Of course I would normally consider adding a blade, but I'm going to leave that off just so that you can see very simply the grid itself. I do need a margin, however, so I'm going to leave it at default margin. And here is my document. If I shrink this down, you can see I've got all these pages. And in the pages panel, there's a miniaturized version of the document, set documents. So this is really for navigation, so it allows me to navigate around. Okay, so you can still see I'm within the whole document. In addition, you have master pages, and master pages are up here. When I double click on a master page, then zoom out, you'll see you only see the master page. And in order to get back into this, I need to double click. The master page is called an A master, and it relates to this A here. So any new page I make, any new page I make is an A master. You can see they're all A masters until I tell them to be otherwise. Now, I want to affect a grid on my document, but I want it to ripple the whole way through the document. So I'm going to put it on my master page. Otherwise, I'm going to have to put a grid on each page. So I'm going to go to my masters and form the grid for that. I'm going to apply the grid by saying layout, create guides. And so we're actually using guides to divide the spaces up. So the number of rows I'm going to have, well, let's just add them and see what it looks like. So sometimes it's a visual thing, and sometimes it will be communicated to you what sort of grid to use. So that looks like a nice spacing for this document, and a number of columns as well. And you'll see it's doing it over the double page spread. So it's breaking up my document into columns and rows. And so we have good areas now to build our text into, to build our images into, and to create a really interesting piece of work based on the fact that everything will be precise. And as we turn the pages, as we come down into the document and move down into the document, everything will be correctly positioned, so nothing will jar as you are turning the pages. You'll be able to make paragraphs end in the right position and images blocked into areas and so on. Now, you will work with a grid when you're working on things like magazines, newspapers, and a lot of layout will have an underlying grid. And you don't have to look at it all the time. You just have to hit W to get rid of it, and then you can continue working on your document. Okay. And hit W again, and the grid comes up. So I can use it to make value judgments about where to place things, about how to get them precisely on the page. So for instance, if I wanted an image to go here, I can be really precise about it, bring that image in, and then on the next page or the page before it, I can have exactly the same positioning for an image. What I would say is, obviously, when I'm working in the document here, all of this stuff is editable. When I'm working on the master pages, the changes that I make in a master page are not editable in the main pages. So for instance, let's just get rid of these. I go up to the master page and just block in some color. So say for some reason you wanted green to run throughout your document over the spreads. Actually, we'll just do it over one page, and you'll see it will go on the Verso side of all of your A master pages. If you don't want that to happen, you can take the None page and break that up. So for instance, on my inside page there might be an advert, so I don't want that green block, so I'm going to just block it out, and then I can edit this document separately. You can see it's also hiding the grid as well. But all the other pages will reflect the A master. And in fact, you can make additional master pages. So you can create your own master pages, and the long documents will have many master pages that they can apply throughout, so that they're not reinventing the wheel every time you make a newspaper or a magazine. Something that you might certainly put on your master pages would be the folio. So you might say the magazine name, and you might have a date down here, and you would certainly have page numbers. But again, where there's an advert, you wouldn't have a page number, so you would want to break that up. And the final thing I really want to say about master pages is when I add additional pages, need to be down here in the editing section. When I add additional pages, then they become A masters automatically. So you don't choose, they automatically become an A master. So just be in control of what goes on your master pages. I just wanted to take you back to when we set up the guides, layout, create guides. And just to be aware that when you're setting up your grid, make sure you understand how it's being applied, whether it's fitting the page or whether it's fitting the margins. Okay, so at the moment mine is fitting within the margins, giving me equal spaces. And if I applied it to the page, then it would measure equal spaces from page to page. Okay, and of course I've got control over the gutter spaces in between. These are these spaces here and here, and you can decide how fine you want those to be.